That's your counterterrorism chief right there. What a slimy, weaselly, rat fuck looking prick, Sebastian Gorka. So he's saying that Tucker Carlson is promoting Sharia law. Gorka, as a government official, has no business sticking his nose into whether people define America in the same way he does, said Klippenstein. And let's be real, none of this is actually about extremism. It's about the fact that Carlson recently broke with Trump bitterly over the Iran war. That's the real offense. I personally have no idea why Sebastian Gorka is serving in the Trump administration. There are many questions that I have about people serving in the Trump administration. I'm like, I just don't understand. Trump's whole thing is about loyalty. Who's loyal to me? Right? As we're told that Trump values loyalty above all else, right? He's trying to play this character like he's the Putin of the West and even better than Putin, right? Putin obviously is known for valuing his loyalty. But then I look at the people that Trump surrounds himself with. Laura Loomer, the fake Jewish woman, bipolar, can't even own a gun, and attacks all the people that made up the core of MAGA within the media ecosystem and political ecosystem. Mark Levin, he was a never-Trumper. Ben Shapiro, he was a never-Trumper. Sebastian Gorka, who I just mentioned, a British, he's not even American, British never-Trumper. Now, some of you might be listening right now and saying, Jackson, who the hell is Sebastian Gorka? Well, he's a guy who I got in a lot of debates with in the last presidential election cycle because he was like this fanatical supporter of Ron DeSantis. And I said, Sebastian, first of all, get the hell out of our country. You don't belong here. Go back to your little smelly, foggy, little disgusting island of the UK where you got rats running around and people with knives running around stab. Go back to your disgusting little country. Second of all, you want Americans to support Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, who's ardently pro-Ukraine, vehemently anti-China, like wants war with China more than just about anything else. But oh, wait, I can't forget the fact that he's one of the most staunch pro-Israel governors that we have in the United States. I said, Sebastian Gorka, with as little respect as much disrespect as possible, go fuck yourself. We held several debates on Twitter. At some point or another, he decided to block me. And now he's the counterterrorism chief of the Trump administration. Isn't that amazing? Just like Dan Bongino, who's the deputy director of the FBI, also has me blocked on Twitter. Anyways, I don't know what, Sebastian Gorka, this British neoconservative warmonger, is up to. I don't know what his plans are, but he did reveal one thing, that being in an interview he did with the editor-in-chief of Breitbart News. He was talking about Tucker Carlson, and he said, look, Tucker Carlson's not even on the right. And, we have to be, he was asked a question about the, people who are should be on watch lists and concern put forward for certain political actors in the United States. Investigations on these people, so on and so forth. He was asked this by the Breitbart guy. I think this whole question was a setup, by the way. I think they pre-scripted that they were going to talk about this. And Sebastian Gorka goes on to say, well, yeah, of course, Tucker Carlson, but he's not even on the right. He's on the left, and he's defending Sharia law, and he's promoting terrorism and people that hate America. Take a listen to a little bit of this right here. He said, you are lauding Sharia law if you were saying that. And here's the rest of the clip.
Muslim states that seem to be better qualitatively than America in terms of freedom and prosperity. I'm not sure that means you're part of the conservative movement. So if you remove those individuals and you understand that they're not conservatives, what's left?
This guy just looks like a slimy little British rat is what he looks like. Let's get a better picture of Sebastian Gorka. Let's get it. Because you know what Sebastian Gorka reminds me of? I'll be brutally honest with all of you. He reminds me of someone who you'd see on Epstein Island. Now, to be fair, Apparently, he's not like well-known, noteworthy enough to have been even invited to Epstein Island. But I'm not going to lie. This guy does look like, I mean, what's he even talking about? He's talking about the right-wing movement when he's one of the biggest Ukraine supporters on the planet, one of the biggest Zionists on the planet. You know, that there's really no space for people like Tucker in the modern conservative movement. We have to make way for those who are on Epstein Island because they're the ones with the real cash, the real money that can drive us home to victory in the midterm elections. That's your counterterrorism chief right there. What a slimy, weaselly, rat fuck looking prick, Sebastian Gorka. So he's saying that Tucker Carlson is promoting Sharia law. And okay, let's even say hypothetically, like Tucker Carlson, sure, he's promoting Sharia law. Let's just like take it at face value. Now, is that like, that's not like that's just like freedom of speech, right? I could raise my hand today. I don't support this, by the way, but like I could say like, oh, I support Sharia law. Oh, am I supposed to get arrested now? Am I supposed to have like a FBI counterterrorism investigation launched upon me? I hope not. I hope not. I hope that we have like a little bit more respect for freedom of speech than boiling it down to something as ridiculous as that. But I feel like we're at that point now. I feel like we're at the point where saying Netanyahu is evil and bad translates to not just like they're saying that, oh, it's anti-Semitic to say that. It means that you hate all Jewish people. It also now translates to, I endorse Sharia law. My God. So, oddly enough, Ken Klippenstein, who I usually have no kind words for because he also is a mental case, came out and said, I'm an absolutist when it comes to free speech. That's a stretch. For the right and the left and anyone inside or outside that spectrum. Gorka, as a government official, has no business sticking his nose into whether people define America in the same way he does, said Klippenstein. And let's be real, none of this is actually about extremism. It's about the fact that Carlson recently broke with Trump bitterly over the Iran war. That's the real offense. So, yeah, Ken Klippenstein is 100% correct. Also, we have Alex Jones talking about this. Let's see what Alex has to say about this.
And then the editor goes on to say, well, they should be investigated for working for foreign governments, meaning Qatar or Iran. Something that Tucker a few months ago was told by high-level sources that he is under criminal investigation. And then Laura Loomer came out and took credit for it and said that she was the one that fingered him. Who knows if that's true? She lies incessantly and is delusional.
So we already know that Tucker is under investigation. Now, what I would have to say in response to this news from Sebastian Gorka about some sort of an investigation, he responded to that question about Tucker Carlson. What I have to say to Tucker is, please, for the love of our country, please announce your candidacy for president yesterday. Please do it today. Please. I was just talking. I told you guys. I was just talking with John Kiriakou. He had me on his show. If you've been on TikTok or YouTube or anywhere over the past like 4 months, I'm sure you know who John Kiriakou is, and you've probably heard how much of a hero he is for standing up for just like basic good human rights when it comes to try to fight against torture. And I said the same thing on that show, and John was like, I fully agree. And he actually said he spoke to Tucker. The last time he spoke to Tucker, he brought it up. Wasn't the first time he brought it up to Tucker, and he said, Tucker, you should really run for president. And Tucker said, for the first time, he didn't say no outright. That was the first time John said he didn't say no outright. He said, well, you know, I don't know if my wife's going to be happy about that, and my son, you know, my family, this, that, and the other. But he didn't say no outright. So I take that to mean we are moving in the correct direction here. I'll also say that there are other people I know who are reaching out to Tucker that, from what I can see, I think Tucker respects these people and really likes these people. I know for a fact, in some cases he does. And they're all encouraging the same thing. Run for president. Run for president. Easier said than done. Easier to encourage someone to run than having to be the person to run, of course. You'll never hear me call Tucker or anyone else a coward or anything like that for not running. I would never do that because we all know what the system can do. We know what it can do. We know how it can quite literally end your life, in your marriage, in your ability to have work, a good work, a salary, anything like that, right? It can literally do anything. But all things considered, and Tucker's the only one that can consider these things, you know, he, his family, and God, I say, seriously consider it. And you know, I think it would just be so beautiful. Sebastian Gorka, you want to do some bullshit counterterrorism investigation on Tucker? Kash Patel, you want to do some BS terrorism investigation on Tucker Carlson? Laura Loomer, you know, she's running to Trump, telling Trump all these nasty fake things about Tucker Carlson. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna encourage him to run for president now. That's just how it's gonna work from now on. If you make someone as beloved as him, who never in a million years would I say I agree with Tucker on everything, no. But if you're gonna say that someone like that, who's correct on so many issues, you're going to try and, you know, burn them on a stake, right? No, we're going to do whatever we can, mobilize whatever we can to try and make sure that they take your positions, that they take the reins of power. As long as they continue to operate in a way that seems to be transparent and honest and accountable, and so have you, right? If Tucker decided to flip tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, no, fuck that. He's clearly this is a charade he's playing. But I haven't seen that. I've seen nothing but consistency. I've seen him go so far as to apologize for abhorrent takes he had earlier in his career, which is most than just about anyone else I see do. More than I see anyone else do. So I say, let's see it. Let's see it. That's what I got to say. And I was very happy to hear that from John Kiriakou. I know George Galloway also is encouraging the same thing. I know Jimmy Dore is encouraging the same thing. And every time, well, not every time, but many times I talk to Jimmy and George, I say, like, we gotta keep the pressure. We gotta, not pressure, but like encouraging, you know, encouraging, I think is a good way to put it. And I encourage you all to encourage as well. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.